Qaseem Soleimani was seen as the second most powerful man in Iran, and he was killed in Iraq when Americans blew up his convoy using a drone.
Iran says it will take revenge for the US killing of its most powerful military commander. General Qaseem Soleimani died when his convoy was hit by a US drone at Baghdad airport.
Soleimani was a hero for thousands of Iranians, but a terrorist for the United States.
Last night, at my direction, the United States military successfully executed a flawless precision strike that killed the #1 terrorist anywhere in the world, Qaseem Soleimani. Soleimani was plotting imminent and sinister attacks on American diplomats and military personnel, but we caught him in the act and terminated him. Soleimani made the death of innocent people his sick passion, contributing to terrorist plots as far away as New Delhi and London. Today we remember and honor the victims of Soleimani's many atrocities, and we take comfort in knowing that his reign of terror is over.
Before understanding this assassination, you have to understand who was Qaseem Soleimani and why he was very important for the Iran before 2020. You just take a look at the size of Qaseem Soleimani's funeral to appreciate just how important he was to people in Iran. And not just in Iran, there were demonstrations in Iraq, Syria, Lebanon and Yemen too. These are some of the countries where Soleimani commanded a network of powerful militants, which gave him and Iran extraordinary influence across the region. This network made Qaseem Soleimani most important person in Iran, and this is the main reason what got him killed. So let's take a head trip of how did Soleimani expand Iran's influence. So, story starts in 1979. During Islamic Revolution, minister known as Ayatollah Khomeini established the Islamic Republic of Iran. Iran was also the first Shia government, and they declared that they are the leader of Middle East, and neighbors of Iran was Sunni dominated, and Iran started facing a threat from Iraq, and in 1980, dictator Saddam Hussein sent his army to invade Iran, which was known as Iran-Iraq War, which lasted till 1988. Even Sunni majority countries like Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Jordan, Kuwait supported and transferred the gun and troops to the Iraq, but America sent some weapons to Iran. And in this war, millions of people died from Iran and Iraq. At that time, Iran was covered with their enemies, and for securing their country, they need the security force to partner with outside of Iran's border. So in the 80s, they formed the Quad Force, in which they allied the unit of soldiers and spies. They partnered with the Guard Corps, a branch of the military that directly deals with the supreme leader of Iran. Now Iran wants the opportunity to examine the Quad Force, and they found one in Lebanon. So in the Lebanon, civil war is on the peak. At that time, US interfered in the war and sent some troops as peacekeeper, but violence became too much that it was started spilling into Israel. Israel will not sit quiet. In 1982, they started invading Lebanon, and Lebanon militant fought back with Israel militants. And several Lebanon militants were Shia Muslims. They were connected with Iran. Iran started sending forces, tons of weapons and millions of dollar money to fight with US and Israel. Here's come twist that Iran smartly merged Lebanon militant into Shia militant known as Hezbollah. And Hezbollah continually attacked on Israeli soldiers in Lebanon, attacking with rockets, bomb over the border into Israel. Because of Iran helped Lebanon for forming Hezbollah and defeated Israel and US, they left the nation in 1984 and Israel backed in 2000. Iran succeeded forming Hezbollah to fight its behalf even they are not fighting on its own border. As same like US done in the 1979 funding Mujahideen fighters for countering and saving Afghanistan from Soviet Union. So just check out my previous video, The Reality of Taliban and their whole history. Link is in the description box and in the I button. Back to the topic, Iran's Quad Force started transferring their ideology into Palestine and Iraq. And here Qaseem Soleimani take the entry in 1998 as a commander of Quad Force. And after getting the position, he get an opportunity to firmly establish Iran's influence in Iraq. In 1923, the US invaded in Iraq for capturing Saddam Hussein and his Sunni-dominated regime. After capturing Saddam Hussein, Iraq was empty and Shia started filling in the power. Soleimani captured the opportunity and started sending their powerful forces into Iraq that fought against US and other small Iraqis regime. And due to this, Iraq faced a too much war in the country. Thousands of civilians died and Shia-dominated government took control of Iraq. And next target was Syria. Soleimani get the opportunity to take control of Syria because of 2011 protests arose in Syria, and this protest slowly taken the shape of civil war. Because Syria peoples want to overthrow dictator Bashar al-Assad, and Iran sent their Iraq militant Hezbollah force from Lebanon and some military fighters of Iran and little bit amount of Afghan Pakistan fighters for protecting Bashar al-Assad and fighting against Syria army to keep Assad in power. Protests turned into civil war and civil war into war, in which eventually more than 5 lakh people died and mostly civilians, but Assad survived. Because of this, Soleimani started forming the influence outside the border, even sitting inside the border too. He started becoming very popular figure in Iran. Soleimani geniusly turned their opponent into Iran's favor and formed several militant groups. People are excessively violent and have killed thousands of people without questioning. This militant web, which was created by Soleimani, will protect to Iran from their opponent and rise Iran's power into Middle East, which Iran wants from the decade. And US can't afford this, and that's why US done a multiple attack on Soleimani. But every time Soleimani escaped before the attack. Every failed mission, CIA officers faced tension. But 3rd January 2020, the mission accomplished. Outside of Baghdad airport, Americans chose a drone attack with the help of MQ-9 Reaper drone, and Soleimani died on the spot. And here the end of brilliant mind which protected the Iran from several opponents, which were the part of Sunni Majority, converted and alliances to several militant and protected from the US and Israel. Because of this, maximum Middle East country love Qaseem Soleimani and have been martyred by Iran. So this all from my side. I hope you love this information talkies. So meet you in the next video. Till then.